Good morning, good afternoon, whatever may be the case. Again, you know my name, Cecil Young, coming to you live and in color from Soundview Media here in Stratford, Connecticut. Again, you know what this has been about, me complaining about contaminated dirt piles, as you all heard in the past. Okay, with being with the city for 27 and a half years, to lose my job because I complained about these contaminated dirt piles at the health department is a shame and a disgrace, okay, that I would lose it behind that. But nevertheless, that's neither here nor there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to really listen very carefully as to what we're going to say and what we're going to be bringing forward to you, which is an agreement that was supposed to have been made between the city and the union, okay, my union at that time. And what troubles me is that this was never really fulfilled in terms of them honoring the agreements. So you basically will hear me ended up telling you and showing you the labor board finally ruling in my favor after 19, 18, 17 years, they finally ruled in my favor pertaining to my medical benefits. What troubles me is that the people that were involved in holding this up for so many years were the same people that so-called allegedly now, 14 years later, are the same two people who denied it, are the same two now who are, et cetera, who are name is on the documentation as the one who approved it, which is a shame and a disgrace because, again, yes, they should have resolved that problem back in 2006. Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohad, as I said before, along with Albert Murphy, violated my civil rights. They committed fraud and all the above. And I say this to the governor, I say this to the powers to be, that no one should be above the law. They apparently think that they have been because of the position that they've been in for so long and the influence that they have over people throughout the state. I guess they felt like some kind of a god, okay, to many of those who would go up against them. And as you will see, the information that I will bring you forward and will show you, as well as I will play for you, will be information confirming the fact that I was right all along, pertaining to my unjust termination as well. I will play documentations, give you documentation. I would also play audios of Dr. Evans and Jody Paul, confirming the fact that I was at work at the health department in 2006, even though they allegedly said I wasn't at work, that I voluntarily resigned. They sent me with a number of different things, which I will show you by playing the audio tape of what I recorded from them, unbeknown to them, where they confirmed the fact that I was at work. But nevertheless, I ended up losing my job, and I hear this for 19 years later. I'm still out of a job with the city of Bridgeport, and I'm saying that back then I wouldn't not let it go then, and I'm not going to let it go now. Now, what I'm going to do is have my assistant read off the reflections of the agreement that was made, that they didn't honor.
Yes. This agreement is in reference to your dental portion of your group plan. It's the city of Bridgeport and NAGE and grievant Cecil Young. Whereas the parties hereby agreed to the following, and this was dated October 10th, 2007. 1, the grievant Cecil Young's employment with the city of Bridgeport was terminated on March 20th, 2006. Section of 19.5 of the collective bargaining agreement state that the health benefits provided for under section 19.1 and 19.2 shall continue to be provided for terminated employees who have filed a timely grievance of such termination under this agreement until a final decision on such grievance is arbitration or 6 months from the date of termination, whichever is sooner. The 6 months period following Mr. Young's termination, this is number 3, termination would have expired on September 20th, 2006. Number 4, on April 7th, 2006, Mr. Young submitted retirement paperwork and begun receiving pension benefits as well as health benefits provided for under section 19.1 of the contract, excluding the Cigna dental plan benefit under 19.1C. Number 5, during the 6 months period of 3/20 to 9/20/2006, there were several claims submitted to Cigna Dental from Fairfield Dental Home, Adrena Torina, DMD, on behalf of Mr. Cecil Young and his dependents. These claims were denied by Cigna because Mr. Young was no longer covered under the city's group plan. Now, therefore, Number 6, the city will activate coverage for Mr. Young on the Cigna dental plan for the 6-month period as mentioned above. 7, as a result, Cigna Dental will cover the city's portion of the claims that would have been paid if Mr. Young were kept on the city's group dental plan. And number 8, under the city's group plan, there is an out-of-pocket expense for employees since Cigna does not cover 100% of the cost for dental claims. 9, therefore, any outstanding balance after Cigna pays its portion of such claims would be the responsibility of Mr. Young. And lastly, the city would also authorize Cigna Dental to cover its portion of any claims submitted outside of such 6 months period. And we'll stop right there.
Okay, you know, and that's what troubles me. Can you believe that after all them years of all that time I've been complaining about the fact that the city knew good and well that they violated my rights by denying me my medical benefits, okay, knowing that I was in the union and that the union has an agreement with the city whereby any employee who gets terminated has the right to continue their benefits as long as they file a grievance, which I did the day after that. And it troubles me that here it is, the award was made by what, by Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad, okay. These are the two people that were involved in, say, again, denying me my medical benefits for these many years. And to this day, I still haven't got fully my benefits honored by the city because they still haven't complied to the degree that they should have in the beginning. And again, thank God for this award that was given to me on my behalf was given because I went before about 12 or 14 commissioners, okay, up in Weathersfield. And we met, with me and my wife at the time, Patricia Nichols, who became Patricia Young, okay, we went to a hearing where these folks that I met with apparently told Mike Cohad, Gerald Weiner, to honor my medical benefits. As you see here, this is 2008. My benefits should have been continued on, okay, during that 6-month period. At the time I got terminated at 2006. But as you see, based on them, they allowed it to drag on. Why did they allow it to drag on? Because they got paid. They committed fraud. That's why they allowed it to go on. And that's why I said to myself, and I say to the public, this has to stop. No one should be allowed to do what they did to me and get away with it. And that's why I say to you, look at this in black and white. Okay, you see Gerald Weiner, chairman of the labor board, okay, Mike Cohad, okay, likewise, okay, manager of the labor board. These people were involved with the medical part as well as Gerald Weiner was involved in the medical part. He made $850 pertaining to my medical benefits. How many hearings did he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hearings he had pertaining to my medical benefits. Gerald Weiner, chairman of the labor board, been there for almost 19 years. He was the chairman for almost 19 years. Can you believe that? That's why people are so afraid of him. Mike Cohad, likewise, been there almost 19 years. Okay, again, if they defrauded the government behind me, can you imagine how many others who've been defrauded by these two? All right, and I have evidence of that. Okay, Mike Cohad and Gerald Weiner knew good and well that terminated employees have a right to continue their benefits. Okay, yet and still they told the labor board, okay, all right, that they didn't have to do it apparently. Okay, they didn't honor it. Even to this day, the city did not honor the labor board's request. And I'm saying again, this has to be stopped. And that's why, again, I say to you, there's no way in the world why I was denied my medical benefits, okay? And should have been treated the way I was treated. As I said before, they denied my doctor's note. The labor board, new labor board commissioner, Albert Murphy, called my doctor's note literally straps of paper. Literally straps of paper. How do you fax over a documentation, so-called straps of paper, to the health department from my doctor's office to the health director's office? How do you fax it over to them based on straps of paper? You cannot do that. But yet and still the labor board gave the impression that there were straps of paper. That was never the case, okay? They also gave the impression that I was terminated. Terminated. What did they say I was terminated for? For not returning to work. Do you have that? They said I was terminated because I have not come to work as of March 6, 2016, which was a lie. You see here in black and white a time card showing that I was at work on 2006, okay, and indicated that I would be going for a colon exam on March 17, 2006, okay. Dr. Evans' assistant ether, took the note indicating that I will be getting married on that same day, March 16, 2016. That I'll be getting married at 12 o'clock. And that I'll be leaving around 11 or 10:30, which you can see on on the note that she left for Dr. Evans, indicating that Cecil Young would be leaving at 10:30 or 11 o'clock to go get flowers because they plan on getting married. They knew all of that, yet and still they act like they didn't know anything about that.
Yes.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play an audio tape of Dr. Evans, okay, all right, talking about, oh, I made you sick again. Okay, you will hear also Dr. Evans say likewise, okay, to her, Ethan, my supervisor, okay, acknowledging the fact that I'm back at work on this day on March 16th. You will hear her confirm that on March 16th, yes, Cecil was saying to her, he's at work. I will likewise show you information along with that as they play the tape of Dr. Evans and all the above. Okay? Now I'm going to play Dr. Evans' tape, the audio tape of Dr. Evans. You will hear her in her own voice say that Cecil Young, she's acknowledging and accepting me back to work on that date, on March 16, 2006. And you will also hear Jody Paul likewise several times confirm the fact that she acknowledging the fact that I was at work on that date. Okay, you will hear her even say, yeah, you came in, but you left an hour and a half later. I want you to look at this document and to be able to see exactly what I'm saying, because everything that I'm saying to you is not on this document, but I reflected on some of the stuff that was recorded. But everything that you do hear from this recording is what was said in these documentations here that I'm about ready to play for you. Now I'm going to play the tape, which we will hear Dr. Evans say, oh, I made you sick again. Okay, but nevertheless, let's hear what she has to say as well. Finish up the rest. On the other mic. Now you see, here it is, you heard Jody Paul three different times say and acknowledge the fact that I did come to work, yet and still they got on the board that I voluntarily resigned, and I then ended up saying that I was terminated. So which one was it? That's why I said for Albert Murphy and Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad, okay, for them to basically violate the public's trust by committing fraud. They committed fraud. And I'm saying to Attorney General Tung, they need to pursue that they pay back this money to the state of Connecticut, okay, for fraud. Okay, they should not have gotten paid. You see here now that they ruled in my favor. Mike Cohad and Gerald Weiner, the same two people that was involved in my termination. The same two people, I mean, one of the persons that was, Mike Cohad was involved in my termination. Okay, he was a part of the termination. And that's why I say again, okay, for Mike Cohad, okay, to be able to sit up here and to give the impression, okay, that he didn't know what was going on when he was a part of the termination board. He also was a part of the medical boards being terminated, okay, and he acted like he didn't know anything about that. All right, he tried to say, well, Mr. Murphy said, well, Mr. Murphy said what? You were there, Mike Cohad. You knew that I was there. It showed you that I came to work. Yet and still, you allowed them to go along with denying my medical benefits for several months, for several years, for several months. Why? Because you committed fraud. That's the reason why. How many times he got paid? What? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times he got paid over hearings pertaining to my medical benefits. Why? How could they get paid? Mike Cohad and Gerald Weiner, when they both were a part of this board for over 19 years, okay? And they knew that, all right? And that's what troubles me, is that they've been on this board for that long, for that much time. Mike Cohad and Gerald Weiner, look at how long they've been on these boards, all right? Ain't no way in the world. That is the reason why I kept saying my lawyer said what he said as to whether or not, okay, is it worthwhile pursuing your matter pertaining to Dr. Richards, pertaining to Judge Richards dismissing my case, ignoring the evidence that I presented? She ignored the evidence because the labor board has power. They have juice. These people have been there for years. He's been there for almost 19 years, both of them. Mike Cohad, Gerald Weiner as well. Okay, so when they said what they said by the labor board, as far as the judge was concerned, okay, hey, that was it. And that's why the judge ruled against me the way that they did. But now if the judge will hear this audio tape that I tried to give my attorney, John Williams, showing him, okay, that I have an audio tape that he never took time to hear me. He never took time to respond to me. Look at these facts that I sent to Attorney John Williams. Several facts that I sent him indicating, John Williams, they're going to dismiss my case if you don't respond to the court. They're going to dismiss my case. Now, here's what happened with Bridgeport Superior Court, or with Judge Richards. Let you do Judge Richards. Let my assistant reflect on Judge Richards, on what happened with that. This is the reason why I believe the labor, my attorney, John Williams, didn't want to pursue the matter any longer, because he feared that these people down the road would take it out on him, okay, knowing, okay, that they committed fraud, and that fraud could possibly lead to them going to jail, all right? And so I'm saying to the state of Connecticut, what they did was commit enough fraud to a point where I think that they need to pay the state of Connecticut back for the amount of money that they got paid, okay? And I'm also saying that my attorney, John Williams, look at all these emails, look at all these facts, the emails that we faxed over to him. Okay, Attorney John Williams, over 12 different facts, emails. We emailed John Williams, please respond to this matter before they dismiss my case. Okay, now look at what happened with Judge Richards.
Okay, dated September 26, 2012. The message: I am sorry to enclose a ruling by Judge Richards denying your appeal from the ruling of the arbitrators. If you want to appeal from this, the appeal must be filed by Monday. However, in my opinion, there would be no point in taking an appeal because her ruling is not obviously wrong. Anyway, an appeal would be expensive unless you were representing yourself, and almost certainly not worth it.
And it's not worth it for me to handle it myself, because I'm not an attorney. I don't know how to deal with legal matters in that fashion. But it's a shame, Attorney John Williams, to say what you said, to throw in the towel as fast as you did, to take my $5,000, and because of the labor board. And that is the reason why you and Judge Richards went along with their decision, okay, which is wrong. You knew it was wrong, okay? And for you to cop out on me because of you not taking the time to hear all this overwhelming evidence that I have showing you and showing the court, but because you never took any time to respond to me, okay, the judge ended up throwing my case out of court. Do you have the one where the judge ended up dismissing the case because he's not compliant to my matter? Come on, Richard. I mean, Attorney Williams, I paid him $10,000, okay? And the reason why was because you seen the time card. You seen me at work. You see the evidence, you hear the audio tapes that was played by me, okay, showing that I did come to work on that date, yet and still they said I didn't come to work, so therefore they terminated me. Why am I being treated this way? So I'm saying to the state of Connecticut Attorney General Tung, or to the U.S. Attorney's Office, someone needs to investigate these allegations that I'm making about these city and state officials, because they violated the public trust. This was on the level of a hate crime, okay, to deny someone their medical benefits at a time when they knew that that person was sick. I was out for extreme anxiety. I was out under a real reason, legitimate reason, and to have my attorney that never responded to any one of these emails. The only his response was that, Cecil, I will handle the case in court myself. Read that one.
Okay, I don't have that one yet. But this was dated 4/9. I am this is from you. I am very disappointed. I have pointed out to you a few times how the city attorney lied in his brief. I also pointed out to you in the court transcript how the city attorney told Judge Richards she had no authority to overturn the decision and rule in my favor, and the judge agreed with the city attorney, which was also biased. I begged you many times in writing and by email about this, and I asked you to file a reply brief. You said you would not reply to the city's brief that was due on April 9th, 2013, because you would argue this in court. Why is it that my case will not be orally argued and heard? ? Can you send me a copy of when you were notified of this? ? If the ruling is against me, will you appeal the decision at no cost to me, since you did not honor my many requests to respond to the city brief? ? There's another one dated April 11, 2013, to John. This is a handwritten note to John. This is the unjust termination case that is in appellate court. The city filed their brief on March 20th, 2013, and is still in briefing status. There's another one dated April 28, 2013. After reading the city brief, I think a reply brief might be needed. The city has purposely lied and left out many issues in their brief. I have circled such. Also, please mention I was a part-time employee and was scheduled to work only 3 hours on the day I left, 1.5 hours early. Please mention the fact that I gave my supervisor on the day I returned to work, 3/16/2006, an appointment letter for colon exam scheduled for 3/17/2006. This was scheduled because I was in fear of having colon cancer. Please mention I never had an attendance problem all of my 27 years of working for the city. It states in the NAGE agreement, city attendance policy, quote, long-term employee was established records of good attendance and may be considered differently than a new employee with poor record, unquote. You might want to enter the fact that the March 10th, 2006 letter from Jody Paul was dated March 10, 2006, as she held the letter until 3/14/2006. They mailed it to me as I received it late on 3/15/2006, is why I returned to work on 3/16/2006. This shows the pretext to terminate me. Thank you, Cecil.
Okay, you know what's so sad about that is, like, you know, and you see what's so sad about this is that I can't get none of this in the newspaper And here's the big article back in the day, Ken Dixon that did this story about fraud. And the question is, Attorney General Blumenthal, okay, part of this blood of my wife and my family and what we've been going through is partly on your hands because you had your assistant at that time, Attorney General Mitchell, okay, who repaired the case, who repaired the case that caused, okay, the auditors, state auditors to file their complaints in terms of what they found in terms of whether or not did they commit fraud, whether or not did they violate the public trust. It's self-evident that they did do that. They did that by me showing, here it is, they got paid for hearings that they should not have even had hearings about because under the union contract it said very clearly that as long as I file a grievance, I have a right to continue that benefits. Cheryl Waynon, as the chairman for over 19 years, knew better. He knew better. All right, yet and still he allowed these hearings to go on in order for him to continue to get paid. Like I said before, $850 Cheryl Waynon made off of this matter pertaining to my sickness matter complaints. Mike Coed made another $575 off of the same matter. Yet and still, Mike Coed, as I said before, was a part of Albert Murphy and another commissioner. Okay, there were 3 commissioners who voted. The 2 who voted against me was Mike Coed and Albert Murphy. The other union person voted in my favor, but because there was only 3 people that voted, they ruled in favor of the city. Why they ruled in favor of the city? Well, because they've been getting paid. They've been getting paid. They've been getting kickback. Albert Murphy got kickback. How dare Albert Murphy say that my doctor's note was literally scraps of paper? That's what he said. This man was appointed by the governor to be fair and impartial, yet and still he lied publicly. Here it is in black and white where he said that my doctor's note was literally scraps of paper. How do you fax over scraps of paper to a health department from your doctor's office? No such thing could ever happen. All right, why would he lie on me like that? Whoa, why? Because they got paid. They committed fraud, all right? And to say that my doctor's note, that the doctor was never treating me for what I was complaining about, and my doctor very clearly said point blank that Cecil has been treated by me for several years, all right? And he's been treating me for several years. And he felt like it was overwhelming in terms of what he had to deal with in terms of what I was complaining about. So he referred me to a clinical psychiatrist. All right? That's what he did. He referred me to a psychiatrist. Dr. Waynick, a clinical psychiatrist. Why? Because extreme anxiety was what I was being treated for. All right? Being treated for what? Behind so-called not coming to work when I came to work. I was at work. Her assistant can prove the fact that I was at work. You see it there in black and white. Why come the Connecticut Post? Why won't nobody cover the story? Is it because they fear the repercussions? I think that is the real reason why. It's because they fear the repercussions. We all did our job, okay? And it's sad, okay, that I had to get the city council, all right, for them to say, all right, look into Cecil's case. They told him on April 8th, 2025, that we want them to sit down with Cecil to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me. I only met with the mayor's chief of staff one time, and he asked me what did I want. I said I wanted my job back and I wanted my name cleared. I deserve my justice. I deserve my name to be cleared from being so-called terminated, okay, because I allegedly did not come to work. When you know in evidence, and I showed it in black and white, that I did come to work. I played the audio tape confirming the fact that I came to work, all right? And thank God for Councilman George Cruz, who encouraged Councilman Newton to pursue this matter. And he likewise encouraged Anita to likewise go along with that. So both council persons said on behalf of Cecil Caesar Young that yes, we want them to look in to see if whether or not his termination was justifiable or not. I'm not no Johnny come lately. I ran for mayor in 1977. I've been a community activist for over 50 years. Okay, here it is when I ran with Mayor Mendenisi back in the days, Ralph Cinemo and the others. Okay, and as I said before, Joe Ganim, Mayor Joe Ganim, produce the evidence that they asked you about producing. Show justification for what they did to me, or either not show justification. But do not respond to this matter at all to insult my council persons by not responding what they requested from you, which is to show the evidence that justifies them terminating me, especially when after what I've shown you, and I played this tape for you. Listen to the tape again. Huh? And that's why, again, I say this matter need to be investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office, okay? Somebody need to be brought to justice because, again, like I said, Gerald Weiner, no one should be above the law. I have shown you in black and white that they committed fraud, and I'm saying to the state's attorney's office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, someone need to pursue this matter to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in violating my civil rights. Okay, all right. You know that they have. And I'm saying to the city council, okay, I've given this matter to the city council, and I'll be going before the city council on the 4th or the 6th, whenever the next meeting will be held. And more than likely, they're going to probably end up locking me up because I'm going to go down there and I'm going to say what's on my mind. I'm going to say what I don't want to have to say. But it seems like the only time I can be heard is by me acting like the N-word. And I don't want to have to act like the N-word, but I'm going to have to go to that level and another level if need be in order to bring my point home. And I'm saying it's a shame and a disgrace to have these minority council persons who were duly elected by the people of that district, to have them to say that they want this matter looked into, but to pursue it, and to have the city not to respond other than to say, hey, what do you want? And I told them what I want, and I haven't heard nothing since then. It's been 5-6 months now since then. The question is, Mayor Joe Ganim, you said when you got convicted of what you got convicted of, you said to the State Bar Association, give you your license back because you deserve a second chance. And I said, yes, I have no problem with that. Give me my chance. Give me my first chance to be able to prove my innocence. I've given you overwhelming evidence showing that I was at work. You hear the audio tape of Dr. Evans saying, accepting me back to work on March 6, 2016. You hear Jody Paul said several times, acknowledging the fact that I was back at work several different times. You also heard one of the union reps say on my behalf, all right, that could you understand that the other panel could have been wrong in terms of their decision when they ruled against me? Yes, there's no doubt. Listen to this.
And it sounds, and he also said that it sounds like entrapment.
Okay.
And there was an investigation done on March 22nd, 2018 by Janine Hawkins,
Okay.
who was director at that time of labor relations. And the letter goes as follows. It says, to whom, this is to the U.S. State Attorney's Office.
U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yes, to whom it may concern. This correspondence is being delivered in response to a letter that was delivered to your office from Mr. Cecil Young. I am enclosing correspondence delivered and received on behalf of Mr. Young. My office has completed the investigation into Mr. Young's complaint. It appears that Mr. Young is dissatisfied with the outcome of the same. After a thorough investigation into Mr. Young's complaint, it is my conclusion that the city and the union act properly in the termination of his employment.
And isn't that amazing? What you just said is that the city and the union acted properly. Yes, my union acted properly. The city did not act properly.
Right.
And you're not acting properly when she said what she said, that I was a disgruntled employee. That had nothing to do with this issue. The issue was I was terminated for allegedly not coming to work.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, so why would you turn around there as the assistant to the mayor, all right, and say and lie on me by giving the impression that I was a disgruntled employee when that wasn't the case?
And there was no documents enclosed with a copy of this letter proving that the termination lined up with all policies and procedures, because she never said which document that would prove she said, "It is my
It
conclusion."
was her conclusion, which is basically, that's just a hypothetical thought of her opinion, which is that is not the case. That wasn't what they asked her to do. When Councilman
Right.
Newton asked her back then to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me,
Yes.
that's what he wanted, specifics, not no hypothetical thoughts about what you think and what you might want to put together to justify what you said, okay? And it troubled me, okay, because again, you were promoted to become the mayor's special assistant as a result of you lying on behalf of the personnel department of the city of Bridgeport. He elevated you to become his special assistant, okay? Then later on down the road, I understand he ended up dumping you and putting you back in some place where you had mouse and rats running around in school and you wanted to bail out, and now you know what it's like to have to be put in a situation where you don't want to be and be treated like a, you know, the N-word, huh? Because that's what you is in the N-word mindset. Because that's why he used you to use you. When he got through with you, he threw you out like he threw out others, okay, in the past, all right, who once they got caught up and caught out and doing what they did for him over the years that they did for him, and to turn around here and to treat me the same way. I've been a community activist for the last 60 years. All right, I'm 75 years old. I've been out here in the eye of the storm trying to help our people fight crime, deal with pollution, to deal with all kinds of issues, and to be treated like a foreigner in my own country, in my own neighborhood, as a taxpayer and as a homeowner. I have a serious problem with that. And that's why I'm saying to the Mayor Ganem, please produce the evidence that Councilman Newton and Nita asked you to produce. Produce it or either close the case and say, Cecil, we owe you an apology. Okay, if you can give that young man, okay, his family, $5 million, okay, who allegedly was so-called involved in a car, and he was so-called got $5 million, okay, after a police officer shot and killed him, okay, because he was trying to get away, okay, per se, or whatever it might have been, okay, and if you can give him what you gave him for what he so-called allegedly was supposed to have been involved in, okay, and my point is to me, I lost my wife, I have my daughters, I have my family been scattered. Okay, they would probably never be able to come back the way that they were in the beginning before I got caught up with this matter, getting them involved in this matter, writing letters to after congressmen and senators and to the Connecticut Post and others. And I say to all the above, shame on them, okay? You know, and that's what troubles me is that for years, okay, for years, I've always been in the newspaper. For years, okay, I've always been in the newspaper. And to be treated now like I'm not important, okay, huh? I've been doing community policing work and all that kind of stuff all my life, okay? And to treat me like I'm nobody? Come on, y'all. Come on. Y'all know the story. Come on, huh? Ain't nothing new about me. And now all of a sudden, now I can't get none of this stuff in the newspaper? Huh? I mean, come on. After 19 years, I used to get every article by Sid Folsom and Mike Daly and Joe Owens and the editor of the Connecticut Post. Look at all these articles they used to do on me. Now you won't do nothing about Gerald Weiner and Mike Cohad. Why not? Why not? Come on, look at me. I came from the hood. I formed the Cadet Corps. Look at Joe Owens, the man. He called me a man of action, huh? Action Jackson, come down to the bottom line. Joe Owens, the editor of the Connecticut Post. Mike Daly, the editor of the Connecticut Post. These reporters wrote about Cecil Caesar Young because of what? The things that he's been involved with over the last 30, 40 years, okay? He's been involved with the Housing Authority, okay? He was a superintendent, all right? He was a member of the Democratic Party. He opened up the community police post on the east end. They was ready to open up on Stratford Avenue, community police post, all right? All right, I was an aide as Mayor Tom W. Busey, all right? Okay, no one gave me nothing. I earned what I have. And I've been fired from the Housing Authority. I've been fired from the city because, I mean, what? Saying about issues that need to be said, that need to be spoken about, okay? And I'm still speaking about them because I care, huh? Like he said, Mike Daly said, Cecil Young's heart is still in the right place. Why? Because I care about people. I care about conditions. I care about where we came from. I care about God giving me an opportunity to prove in height of what they thought I would never be. Look at me now. I've made it to a great degree where I was told that I would never be anything. I would never do anything. But look at me now. I'm showing that these here people committed fraud. Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohad, all right? Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, they violated the public trust by doing all the above and got paid. They got paid. Taxpayers' dollars, and I'm saying to the Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I'm saying to Donald Trump, you want corruption? Here is now the time to get Connecticut put back on their back and make them realize that what they did to me, that they should not be allowed to get away with it. And I'm hoping that the Republican Party will look at this information and bring it to the Democratic Party and say to them, why are you allowing this to happen to one of your own? One of your own, a Democrat person who's been a Democratic Party member for years. Why are you treating him like he's a nobody? Huh? Why are you violating the public's trust? Huh? Come on, y'all. For what? I deserve better than that, huh? No one's above the law. And I say to you, here it is, going on 19 years, not one time an article has been mentioned about Mike Cohat, Gerald Weiner. Not one time has their name been in the Connecticut Post. Not one time has their name been mentioned in the News 12. And I'm saying to them, I've told them before, sue me, Cecil Young, if what I'm saying I can't back up. Y'all heard the audio tapes. You've seen the evidence in black and white. I'm not just talking to be talking. I'm saying that for the last 15 years, I've been going to City Hall, to the City Council, and for the last 15 years, we haven't had any reporters that will record anything that anybody says at City Hall. For the last 15 years, I haven't heard anything that I've said or anyone else has said at City Hall be put in the Connecticut Post paper. Why? Why not? What's going on with the Connecticut Post? What's going on with this paper that once gave me an opportunity to be who I am, who showcased me, and gave me an opportunity to be able to show that other people like me deserve the same kind of break. But if you're going to have papers that are going to deny people like me who've been persecuted for speaking truth to power, and you not want to cover that, I say shame on you. Okay, Connecticut Post. I'm going to stop you buying I've been a subscriber of the Connecticut Post for 30, 40, 50 years. All right? This year will be the last year I will prescribe to the Connecticut Post paper unless they change their ways. All right? We deserve better than what we've been getting. And you know that. And for you to ignore me and to ignore the people that I represent and been representing for years and years, I say shame on you. Why come Brian Lockhart? Why come the editor of the Connecticut Post have not said, Cecil Young, let me look at this evidence that you got here. You got overwhelming evidence in black and white. You got overwhelming evidence on audio tape showing that these people lied and committed fraud and they persecuted you. They violated the public's trust by throwing you to the wolves. For what? Because you dared to care enough to want to speak truth to power? I've been a city sheriff for 16 years. Huh? I'm not no Johnny come lately. Why come now for 15 years now? I've been going to the city hall, the city council. Joe Gainham, yes, you got power, you got juice. And Brian Lockhart, he's impressed by you, all right? And that's the reason why maybe he's not covering the city hall like he should, like he could. And I say to Brian Lockhart, shame on you to disrespect me and to ignore me and the issues that I speak about. Because you know good and well that if it wasn't for people like us speaking truth to power, people like you wouldn't have the kind of job you got. Okay? And if you're going to have that kind of job, be fair and be open, be honest, be impartial. Okay? Be partial. Don't take sides. Be fair. Represent all people's concerns. We all as taxpayers have a right to be heard. And I'm saying that my right to be heard is being stagnated. And I said Albert Murphy, Gerald Weiner committed fraud. These are state officials who took an oath. They were sworn in by the governor. The governor Rowland allowed them to continue on, both of them. And this governor is allowing them to stay on. And I say to the governor, I sent a letter to Senator Gaston and State Rep Baker, and I told them I want this matter looked into, and if they find that what I'm saying is true, Weiner should be removed, Mike Cohat should be removed, and I'm sorry that God already removed, Murphy passed away some time ago, way back when, but what he did is not gone. It's not going to pass away with me because what he did was wrong. And he know he was wrong when he did what he did to me by lying on me and lying on my doctor, by giving the impression that my doctor's note was literally strips of paper and that my doctor never was treating me. Why would he sit there and lie on somebody like me like that? After all I've done for the city and for the state, why would you do me somebody like that? So to the Connecticut Post, somebody, whoever's out there, if you know anybody at the Post or if you know anybody at News 12, ask them, then why won't they cover Cecil Young stories? Why won't they write about what he's talking about? Say something about Albert Murphy. Say something about Gerald Weiner. Say something about Mike Cohat. Say something. You said if you see something, say something. When I seen something and I said something that cost the city $250,000, I said something. And look at what happened to me after 27 and a half years with State Rep Ernest Newton. 27 and a half years with State Rep Newton. And he finally spoke out about my concern. And now you still don't want to respond to it? And you wonder why come they don't want to continue on? Because they know that the Connecticut Post is not going to be too friendly with them if they say something that they may not like. Because what? Oh, Cecil is the bad guy. He's the troublemaker. He's the agitator. Yes, how do you clean up dirt? You put it in the washing machine and you agitate it. You clean it up. You stir it up. You stir it up. You stir it up. And that's what needs to be done in the city of Bridgeport. They need to be stirred up and exposed for what they've been doing to people like me and you. Dear good and grace of God could be you next or your family next. Thank you for listening to the show. I hope that you heard what I said, and I hope that you do something with it. Pass it on to your neighbor. Tell them to go to YouTube, download this show on YouTube. You will be able to hear everything I said and pass it on to your neighbors and your friends. Thank you much again for tuning in to the Cecil Young Show from Soundview Media here in Stratford, Connecticut.